In Pennsylvania, there once was a tiny, bustling community with a thriving mining industry. Its residents worked, played, and lived as close knit neighbours while being powered by coal from nearby mines. Today, however, that tiny, bustling town looks unrecognisable to how it once did. Streets are deserted, the majority of its buildings are gone, and smoke now billows down roadways covered with graffiti. The cause? An underground fire that's been burning for over 60 years and will continue for decades more. That resulted in the devastation of a once thriving community. This is the story of Centralia and the mine fire that turned it into what it is today. Howdy, our Horror House hotties. It's Dom.
And Amy.
And welcome to this week's episode of Horror House. As always, we thank you for being here with us today. Whether it's the scum of the earth who take delight in inflicting pain on others, or cults with rather disturbing methods and practices, you all take the time each week to listen to our little show, and we are forever grateful. Are our topics just a little bit fucked up? Yeah, probably. But what can we say? We're a little bit fucked up. And if you're here, that means that you're a little bit fucked up too. But that's okay. That's okay. Do you know why? Because we can all be a little bit fucked up together. Amy, how are you doing today, you beautiful, beautiful human being?
Yeah, I'm alright. I mean, we've said the word fuck a lot already, so I'm a bit emotionally confused. But other than that,
we have got it in there quite a few.
It was a lot of fucks very early on. I think if we had a swear quota, you'd have used it in the intro, which makes life very difficult for me.
This show does not have a swear quota.
No, thank fuck
it
for
will
that,
never
right?
have a swear quota. This is us. If we're not swearing, then something's a bit wrong. Because we've got potty mouths, haven't we, Ames? What can we say?
Little bit. I'm fine with it. It's just fun. It gets my point across, and yeah, it's just good, isn't it? I like it.
Yeah, and sometimes swearing puts that emphasis that you need to get that point across. Exactly. Sometimes it's a little bit difficult to not to get that point across. You need to be like, you need to drop an F-bomb in there or something.
Like fuck being one of them, particularly in one specific setting, which I'm not going to get into too much because my mum listens. But if you're in that mood and, you want someone to put in more effort, then there's not really another word to replace it. And it's like hump. And no one uses hump anymore. Like, not being funny, if someone turned around and went hump me harder, I'd fucking stop and, hit them straight away. That's
an immediate turn off, isn't it? That is an immediate mood killer.
Yeah, so I'm not gonna that would be enough. Place fuck in that scenario.
That would be enough to make you dry extremely quickly.
Oh yeah, for probably the rest of my life, or at least a week.
At least a week. I mean, that's impressive.
That's quite different. So I appreciate it.
Amy, do you know anything about the town called Centralia?
Literally nothing. I now know its name because you just told me. That's it.
Ooh. Well, I'm very excited. I have a feeling that you would have known the other potential episode that we could have done. So I'm glad that you're going into this one. This one blind. So wonderful. So without further ado, let's dive into the story of the rise and fall of Centralia, Pennsylvania. Coal seam fires are nothing unusual, but the underground fire in Centralia, which is still burning today, is the worst in the United States and among the most catastrophic in history. From its rough and tumble residents to its seedier side, mining defined life in Centralia. Members of the Molly Maguires, a clandestine organisation with Irish origins, lived in the town in the 1860s. That's the most Irish name for a clandestine organisation that I've ever heard. The Molly Maguires.
I love it. I'm not even Irish, and I want to.
Right? Where can I get my time machine to go back to the 1860s and become a Molly Maguire? I'm on in. Let's
Sign
do
me
it. The Molly Maguires are believed to have been responsible for a spate of violent crimes in Centralia during this time. The crime wave would eventually come to an end following a ruthless attempt to control the Mollies and the execution of some of the gang's alleged leaders in 1877. And while their crime wave would come to an end, Centralia's reliance on mining very much did not. More than 2,700 individuals lived in Centralia in the 1890s, the majority of them miners or members of their families. And while the Great Depression and stock market crash dealt Centralia's coal industry a serious blow, Centralia was able to withstand it. My Siri has just decided to, come on, what are you doing, Siri? What are you doing? Go away. Nobody asked for you.
the third host of Horror House, Siri. Me neither, Siri. Fucking hell.
Now it's
the deepest thing you've ever said, love.
Now it's mouthing off.
I've not got any answers either. I don't even know what the question is.
Still not sure about.
Me neither. Fucking hell, Siri. You see right into my soul, don't you? You smart little bitch.
I don't know why that won't turn off. Go away.
Okay. It's a deal that you don't know.
It's not. It's okay, Dom. Don't matter that you don't know.
Why is it?
Interesting.
Is she still listening?
Yeah.
What is
the
happening?
icon won't go away. Oh my god.
What is happening to this episode?
I'm going to need to figure out get Siri to calm her shit because
I couldn't find that not in your Apple Music library.
No one
radio
asked you that.
station.
Dom, please, what have I told you? If you're going to invite a guest on the show, please at least tell me prior to recording.
What the fucking hell is going on? It literally turned on Apple Music.
What is happening?
I don't even know where I fucking got to before that happened. Oh.
Neither do I. I was too distracted by Siri and her fucking mind-bending questions. She's made me question everything I'm doing with my life now.
Siri.
That's him.
Oh, dear me. She just wanted to be part of the episode.
God sake. She's such an attention-seeking little bitch. I'm the only one of those allowed around here.
Okay. Right, let's start this bullet point again. Because a certain attention.
Now that we're on camera, maybe I can get sponsored by Red Bull.
Oh, maybe.
That's the dream.
Red Bull and Durex. That is who we're chasing. We're still chasing that Durex.
Basically all I need in life. Those two things cover all my bases.
Let's try this again. She's probably going to
put ourselves
at some
together.
Point. So, more than 2,700 individuals lived in Centralia in 1890. The majority of them miners or members of their families. And while the Great Depression and stock market crash dealt Centralia's coal industry a serious blow, Centralia was able to withstand it. However, what it wouldn't be able to withstand would be the catastrophe that would come its way. And though it's unclear how this would get started, it appears to have started with the Centralia landfill. So the town of Centralia, Pennsylvania, the town council met in 1962 to talk about the new landfill. In an effort to combat the town's issue with unlawful dumping, Centralia would construct a 50-foot deep pit earlier in the year that covered a space about the size of a football field. The council would seek a solution to the problem of rats and offensive odours, which was home to numerous unregulated landfills. Council members would bring up a apparently simple option at the meeting, which was essentially burning the landfill, which as we will find out later on in the episode, turns out in retrospect to not be a very good idea because it
That's such a
doesn't go
me solution to
particularly
the
well.
problem. That's 100% what I would say. Like, we've got this massive thing. We don't really know how to deal with it. All right, burn it, I guess. Give that a go.
I mean,
Think about the consequences
that's
later.
probably what I...
We'll deal with the fallout. But right now, fucking burn it. Because that makes sense.
You hear about the fallout and you're just like, well, if it isn't the consequences of my actions.
Well. When the fallout comes, fucking burn that too. Just keep putting fire onto it. And eventually
just keep adding fire to the underground fire.
Yeah. Eventually it'll just fix itself.
It's like,
you know what they
out of
say,
sight,
you
out of
can't
mind.
fight
Like,
fire with fire. Well, I disagree.
No.
I think you can fight fire with fire. And you should, in fact. That's really the answer to all of our problems, including Siri.
Just fight fire. Don't. Oh, she's gonna pop up again. Oh, bloody hell!
She's
I'm
gonna go,
living
"Please
in
don't burn
fear
me."
now. There's the rest of the recording. I'm just going to be. I'm gonna have my eyes fixed on the corner of my laptop. It's been like
I
she's
quite
coming
liked
again.
it. I think maybe one time Siri should guest host an episode with me. Me and her can just rock out. She's got all the info.
Oh, okay. I'll just be absent from that episode that week. That's fine.
Well, I mean, you can be there if you want, but if you're saying that you know more than Siri, which I doubt, then you can come.
I never said that I knew more than Siri.
No one does.
No one does. I mean, Siri does know a lot, and she knows some fucked up shit as well. You can ask Siri some very interesting questions, and she'll give you the answers. She will give you the answers.
You turn her safe search off, and she's a downright dirty slut.
Yeah. She is a dirty dog. But we have learned a new life lesson from Amy. Fight fire with fire. Amy's mantra: fight fire with fire.
Yeah, just keep going until it gets out of control, and then you just die anyway, and then problem solved.
But so this plan to burn the landfill initially did look to work. In order to control the fire, which they started on the evening of May the 27th, 1962, the fire brigade surrounded the pit with an inflammable material. And they would quench the leftover embers with water once the landfill's contents were reduced to ash. So residents would once more notice flames 2 days after this, and then once more a week later on June the 4th. Firefighters in Centralia were just a little perplexed as to what the origin of the persistent fire was. Bulldozers and rakes were employed to rake up the charred remains of the burning trash and find the hidden flames. And they would finally identify the roots of the problem. The Centralia landfill fire had only gone and sparked a much larger mine fire beneath the entire town. Whoopsie daisies.
Shit. Wait, so hang on, wait. So they started a massive fire in the landfill, which was obviously dug into the ground, which was dug so far into the ground that it wasn't that far between the bottom of the landfill and the top of the mine. So when they set fire to it, it set fire to the mines underneath, which then were underneath the whole town. So basically, everyone has been living on top of a fire. Is that what we're saying?
Pretty, I suppose, yeah. That pretty much, yeah.
Shit. And that's not great, is it?
No. And obviously, living above a mine is not problematic until that mine kind of catches fire. And then that's a problem. Imagine being like, okay, we've found the problem. The dump fire's gone a little bit out of control, but it's fine. It's no issue. We can sort it. And then someone's like, so do you, the mines that Do you want the good news? Do you want the bad news? Unfortunately, it's only bad news because the mine is kind of on fire.
Oh shit! Is it a coal mine as well?
It's a coal mine, yeah.
Oh, so it's literally designed to be on fire. Oh, brilliant! Whose fucking smart idea was this? All right, everything I said earlier about fighting fire with fire, don't do that if you're on top of a coal mine because that's dumb. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
although you
Yeah.
could have a fucking
I'm
killer
not.
barbecue. Like, get some sausages out and you
I
have
mean,
party time.
you could, you know, and those burgers would be done quick, like that. They would be like literally, bam, bam, done,
It's literally bringing a
done.
whole new meaning to unlimited barbecue.
It is. Very soon, a coal seam beneath Centralia caught fire. The local mines were forced to close due to unsafe carbon monoxide levels after it spread to mine tunnels beneath the town streets.
Yeah,
There
no
were
shit.
several unsuccessful attempts to excavate and extinguish the fire. It's kind of ironic that the legacy of the mining that for so many years characterized Centralia is the cause of what would bring down the town. This is due to the fact that there are so many mine tunnels that have been abandoned that any number of these mine tunnels could have contributed to the fire. They all could have. A couple of them could have. Nobody knows. But yeah, it was a bit of a mess. It was a bit of a mess.
Mhm.
The
I
initial
don't know enough about the
fire,
science of how that would work. So I'm just me a lot.
yeah, I don't either, to be perfectly honest. Maybe I should have looked into the science, but I don't know. You know, I don't know about that
Do you know who would have looked
very,
into the
very
science,
well.
Dom? Siri. She would have
Siri.
been all over it.
So the initial firefighting effort required digging beneath the town. Authorities in Pennsylvania had intended to remove the trenches in order to expose the flames and put out the fires. However, the designers of the idea significantly overestimated the amount of earth that would need to be removed and would problematically run out of money eventually. Not a good start. The second strategy entailed putting out the fire with a solution of water and crushed rock. However, the stone grinding equipment and the water lines both became frozen due to the unusually low temperatures at the time. The business was also concerned that the warren of mines could not be fully filled with the amount of mixture they had. So what they chose to do was to fill them halfway, which would give the flames a lot of room to move. Their initiative eventually ran out of funds after going nearly $20,000 over budget. And unfortunately for Centralia, by that point, the fire had grown by 700 feet. That's some big boy fire. Big boy fire.
I'm starting to see some flaws in my fight fire with fire plan. Maybe that's not the best idea.
Yeah, maybe in this case, it's probably not.
Maybe metaphorically,
dear.
it's fine, but actual, real physical fire, not so much.
Maybe not when it's grown by 700 feet. I think at that point, you might
It's too many feet.
might need to think of an alternative strategy.
Yeah, I mean, basically, with watery sludge.
Yeah. And make sure you have enough money and don't go over budget. So, residents of Centralia, despite this, would go about their everyday lives while living above the scorching, smoky ground. By the 1980s, there was still about 1,000 people living in the town, and the locals relished the opportunity to produce tomatoes in the dead of winter and not having to clear their pavements of snow. Underground fire be damned, we ain't moving, said Centralians.
That is so specific. Like, fuck the danger. Don't worry about what it's doing to our lungs or our general health. We can grow really fucking good tomatoes, so you know what we're saying.
Yeah.
But, yes, I've got lung disease, but that passata is just fantastic.
Frank's like, I mean, I don't have to shovel the driveway. This is amazing. I'm staying. You know what? I've got my tomatoes. I've got
Oh
my
my word.
snow-free driveway. I'm happy. I'm good. I'm staying.
Yeah, those two things alone make me want to live in a place. As soon as I view a house, I look at the drive and think, is that going to clear itself? And if the answer is yes, then I have to say to myself, hey, what's the dirt like here? Can I grow tomatoes? And if the answer to both of those questions is yes, whether it's a mansion or a tent, I'm living there because it's all that matters.
I might not have plumbing, but I've got my tomatoes and a snow-free driveway. It's all good.
Exactly. What more can a human being want?
Despite this, as time went on, the ground beneath Centralia would only become hotter and alarmingly unstable. And the residents of Centralia would start to shrink, and the town would turn into the near ghost town that it has become today.
I heard that completely wrong. When you said the residents of Centralia started to shrink, I thought you meant like them physically. They just start getting shorter,
No.
presumably because their feet were cooking. You know how steaks shrink when they cook? I figured it was like that. They were just, naturally getting smaller and smaller until they were all cooked up. But what you actually meant was the population was getting less, not that the
population,
people
yeah.
were shrinking. So, yeah, sorry, my brain went somewhere different to where it was supposed to. I apologize for that. That's why I was laughing. Not because, their homes are being destroyed. That's not funny at all. I just had visions of all of like these tiny little people wandering around because they were gradually getting more and more.
That's funny. I mean, it's not. I mean, it is funny.
Well,
I
when
didn't
you
even
said it,
click that was how you took it.
when you were like, the residents started shrinking, my brain immediately went, what the fuck? Why? Why are they getting smaller?
Oh dear.
But no, the population shrinking makes
Oh
a lot
wow,
more sense. That's what I should
that's
have
funny.
thought first.
I think now is a good time to have a little breather. Amy, what do you think?
I think that's a great idea.
Lovely. So we shall see you back here in not but a moment. Welcome back to part 2 of this week's episode, Our Friends. A little bit of a different episode this time. It's not very often I do an episode about a place. Obviously, not too long ago, me, Stephen, and Leo from Spoils of Horror talked about the Winchester Mystery House. But I think this is the first time that we've done a town or like a city or something like that. I don't think we've done. Have we done one before? I don't think we have. This is the first, isn't it?
I don't think so. We definitely haven't together. I don't know if there was anything you did solo before that. But no, I don't think, not just the place
No.
itself. We tend to talk about a place as in this person terrorized this place, as opposed to this place is a fiery pit of death that's been burning for God knows how many years. That doesn't come up very often, strangely.
No. So yes, I hope that you guys are enjoying a little bit of a different episode this week. Thought we would change it up a little bit because we love talking about true crime. That's sort of the bread and butter, I suppose, of the podcast. But it's nice to talk about something a little different every so often. Get some variety in there. So, recap: Centralia is hot right now. Hot.
So hot
and as
right
we will
now.
see, that's bad news. So hot right now. Yes, it's bad news for the town, unfortunately. It's not good.
It's not hot. So not hot.
So hot. So the city's foundation would heat up over time, with some areas seeing temperatures of above 900 degrees Fahrenheit. Not sure what that is in Celsius. But hot.
Yeah, isn't it like 100 and something? 100 and...
It's probably more than that.
I can't maths, but it's fucking hot.
Get a marshmallow on there, and it will be done in no time. Sinkholes and basements with gas-filled smoke. Health issues started to surface among the populace and houses would start to tilt. Quote,
Shocker.
"Even the dead cannot rest in peace," wrote Greg Walter for People magazine in 1981. Second quote from Greg Walter. "Graves in the town's 2 cemeteries are believed to have dropped into the abyss of the fire that rages below them."
I mean, it's bad, and it's not nice for the families of the people that have died who are still living. But also, that is metal as fuck. Like, this
It
place
is
has
pretty
got to be on
metal,
the cover
to
of
be
a metal
honest.
album somewhere. It must be.
That is
And if it
definitely
isn't,
that is
it
a
needs to
death
happen.
metal album cover. 100%.
Yeah,
100%.
definitely.
So, the turning point, already it's not been great leading up to this, but I suppose the real point where people were like, yeah, we should probably look at getting out of Centralia happened on Valentine's Day in 1981, when Todd Domboski, then 12 years old, had a sinkhole appear beneath him. The sinkhole was 150 feet deep and the ground was scorching hot. Only by managing to grip onto an exposed tree root before his cousin arrived to rescue him did Todd manage to survive. So he was very close to falling into that 150-foot deep sinkhole.
That's a bit much,
with
isn't it?
disastrous results. Yes. Yeah.
Fair play, Todd. I'd
100%.
probably want out as well.
Yeah. I think I'd be like, right, let's get those moving trucks because I think it's time to go.
Yeah.
Think it's
Although be
time to
careful
go.
because there's a shit ton of sinkholes and, getting a truck past one might be
Yeah,
difficult.
that's true.
But yeah, no, it's just not something you want to add to your list of woes for the day. Like, I wake up in the morning and I think, oh, bloody hell, I'm a bit skint till payday. Oh, I've got no bread. Oh, no. The train's running late. What I don't want to add to that list is, oh, fucking hell, I might fall down a sinkhole. Do you know, it's just not something that you want to have to worry about
No,
day to day.
not at all. I like to moan about, the very first world problems that we all face, but I would take running out of sugar over falling into a sinkhole into a fiery pit.
Yeah.
I would
think
take the
so.
lack of sugar, I think.
There are some days where, like, if Starbucks is closed, for example, I might take falling into a sinkhole because that is, they're equal for me. They're pretty much
That's
the
true.
same.
That is true.
Either way, I'm going to
That
die.
is true,
So, in that situation, yeah, maybe. But generally, I don't want to fall in a sinkhole.
So a child had nearly perished, and Pennsylvania had wasted more than $7 million trying to put the fire out by 1983. So for poor old Centralia, the death warrant has very much been signed at this point, and that's because Congress chose to pay the inhabitants to leave by buying them out rather than putting out the fire. Then, in 1992, Pennsylvania took action to permanently expel the holdouts. The entire city of Centralia would then be condemned and its zip code was entirely removed. However, not everyone wished to go. Legal disputes and interpersonal conflicts between neighbours became the norm during the course of the following 10 years. Even a weekly list of those departing was published in the neighbourhood newspaper. I don't know how to feel about that.
It's a bit weird,
That
isn't it?
seems a bit
Like,
yeah.
How much? I would be curious. How much did it cost them to pay everyone to move out, as opposed to how much more it would have cost just to put the fire out? I'm saying just to put the fire out, like it's a super easy task, and just chuck a couple more grand, it'll be fine. Obviously, that's not going to be the case, but it's an interesting approach. Like, we don't want to deal with this problem, so if we could just get these people away from it, then it's literally what we were talking about earlier. It's like, if we just turn our backs on it, it won't exist anymore and it'll be fine.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very much, we'll just ignore the problem and then let it run its course. But I suppose if they're like, we've spent $7 million on this and it's still not out. Like, is there any point in trying now? We're just going to buy people out of their homes at this point.
Yeah. I mean, I wonder why 7 million was the cutoff. Like, they got to, because there was obviously
I
a point
don't
where they
know.
were like, okay, it's now cost us 6 million, but someone was like, well, we've not really given it a try and we've thrown 7 at it. Like, who decided that, oh, okay, no, 7, 8 is too much. We'll go to 7, but not a penny more, because that's just pushing it. There's obviously someone sitting in a room somewhere, maybe not someone, it's probably a group of people. But there's a group of people sitting in a room somewhere that has decided that this is the amount of money we are willing to spend to put this out. And if it doesn't work, we'll spend more money to essentially just, I don't even know what the best word to describe it is, like, diffuse the problem.
It is a very fair question. Who decided that 7 million was the cutoff? Why wasn't 6 million the cutoff? Why wasn't 5? Why didn't they go, to 8 million? It is bothering me that that's a 7 million, because I'm one of those people that has to have the TV volume on an even number. So the
Yeah,
fact
5
that
or
that's not
10.
8 million or 6 is
5 or
really,
10 is
really
fine.
bothering
5
me.
million, okay, that's not an issue. 10 million, also not an issue. 7, no. You're halfway between. You've got to keep pushing on for
Yeah,
the 10 now.
it's a
Sorry. Should have thought
yeah,
about that 2 million ago.
it's a random. Where's the other $3 million, huh? Huh?
Keep, unless it costs $3 million to buy everyone out, in which case 10 million, job done. I don't know. This
Yeah,
is why I'm not in
maybe.
budgeting. This is why I don't work in finance, because I'm not free. If you've put me in that room and said, Amy, how much money do you want to spend on putting this fire out? I would have said something along the lines of, I don't know, 60 quid. How much? I don't know. How much does it
60
cost?
quid.
It's dirt, isn't it? Just, it's free. Don't worry about it.
Amy, we need the budget for this to put out this fire. What should we do? I'll tell you what you do. You go to Wilco, you get a tenner, you buy a bucket, and then you fill it, and then
They sell fire extinguishers in Poundland, mate. You can buy 600 for that. I'm not very good at maths, and I don't really care if the underneath is on fire, so I'm probably not the best person. With, giving it some thought, I'm probably not the best person to put on the case. But I feel like I could have done it for less than 7 million.
In 1993, when only 63 people remained in the town, Pennsylvania would finally use eminent domain, which means in homes that the Centralian residents had owned for years, they officially became squatters. However, the town would continue to exist despite that. Yeah, like, it is kind of sad when,
It was a bit sad.
they've been in those homes, I can imagine, for years, and they've, had families, and, they've grown up, in that place, and now they've become squatters in their own home.
Yeah, but at the
It's
same
kind of
time,
sad.
you've kind of got to question their mental state if they're choosing to stay. At any given moment, a hole in the ground which spews hellfire could open up in your back garden, and you're like, no, actually, I'm all right. I'll take the risk.
Yeah,
Maybe not all there.
yeah.
So, I don't know. It's kind of sad and not sad at the same time.
I mean, we know why they stayed, Ames. It's those tomatoes, that snow-free drive. That's what
Those
it was.
goddamn
Tomatoes and the
tomatoes.
snow-free drive.
Yeah, those
They were like, I can't leave it.
those tasty
I can't.
pomodoros. They're just too good to leave. Yeah. Plus, they're all gradually just getting smaller, so makes sense.
So the town would, the town would continue to exist despite the situation. It still had a mayor and a council, and it still made its payments. And the remaining residents would fight valiantly to remain lawfully over the following 2 decades. Lamar Mervyn, a former mayor, remembered making the decision to remain with his wife despite being offered a bailout. Quote, I remember when the state came and said they wanted our home, or wanted our house, he recalled. She took one look at the man and said, they're not getting it. This is the only home I've ever owned, and I want to keep it. At the age of 93, he passed away in 2010 while still continuing to stay in his childhood Centralia home. On a 3-block stretch of row homes, it was his home, which was the last building still standing. That's kind of badass, I'm not going to lie.
I mean, yeah, it is a little bit. I mean, you're not going to have too many issues with like crime or burglary or anything, are you? Because no one's going to want to go down that street. And 93
No.
as well. It's not like you
Yeah.
can say, oh, it's affecting his health or anything. Because,
Yeah.
most people that aren't living in hellfire don't live to 93.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
maybe he was onto something.
Exactly. Today, guess how many people live in Centralia, Amy?
I'm not very good at maths, Dom. We've already, established the fact that I think 60 quid and 7 million are pretty much the same. But I'm going to go with 27.
Nope.
Less or more?
Less. Considerably less.
Okay. Oh, 3.
Or you're very, very close.
Oh, 4.
4, yeah.
Wow. Shit me dead. 4. That's...
Yeah.
I mean, that's not really a town,
Only
is
4
it?
people
It's just
remain
house.
in Centralia as of today. As one of Pennsylvania's 38 recognized active mining fires, Centralia is still burning. If not put out, the fire will continue to burn for, it's been said, for another 250 years, according to the state's Department of Environmental Protection. However, the town's history and infrastructure have offered a unique source of inspiration for artistic endeavors. The deserted Pennsylvania village is the actual Silent Hill that served as the basis for the 2006 horror movie. Obviously, despite the fact that there isn't an actual Silent Hill, the movie's plot made use of the location and what happened to Centralia. A little fun fact for everybody.
Shut
Amy
the fuck
is
up.
shook.
That is so cool. That's so cool. I suddenly now really want to go. But we should go. We have to go. Obviously, we need to go.
I would be well up for going.
That's cool
Absolutely.
as shit. Fucking hell.
Right?
Yeah.
It's so cool.
This is the
obviously, I
most
didn't know
engaged
this
I've been
before I
this whole
outlined.
episode.
Okay, I
I'm
don't
such
know
a nerd.
don't know what that says about the rest of this episode, but okay.
I mean, obviously nothing. It's not a comment on your commentary. It's just that, like,
I know.
that's just really cool. I think when it gives you an idea of
It is.
what it must be like if it's inspired that sort of game and that sort of movie and stuff, then it gives you that idea, and it's good to have that picture. I think that's why I'm so like, I'm a visual learner.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
that brings it home.
Yeah, absolutely. And now I have to watch Silent Hill again to see like the similarities of the town Silent Hill and the town of Centralia. But yeah, a little interesting fun fact for everybody. Glad that I could have got that in this episode. A little factoid, little tidbit. So for many years, Route 61, which goes into the town centre, was also given new vitality. The 3/4-mile section was altered by artists to become a neighbourhood roadside attraction known as the Graffiti Highway. People from all over the nation travelled there to leave their mark despite the pavement smoking and cracking. However, Amy, if you're like, Graffiti Highway, that looks cool, and the photos do look pretty fucking kick-ass. If you're like, when we go to Centralia, we need to have a look at the Graffiti Highway, you might need to hold that thought, because by the time a private mining firm bought the property and filled the road with dirt in 2010, so the surface had pretty much been covered in graffiti, obviously. And then in 2020, a private mining firm would fill the road with dirt. So the Graffiti Highway is no more.
Oh,
Sad
that's a
times.
shame. That's a shame. I like it when stuff like that happens, when like something bad happens and people turn it into like a source of inspiration or beauty. It's always nice to hear that, but then it just gets covered in dirt, just like everything fucking does. So, what's the point in anything? I've been really negative this episode. I'm really sorry.
But no, like, it is a shame that they covered with covered it with dirt, and it looks like awful. I would Google it on my phone, but that's being used as my camera, so I can't.
Yeah,
But
and Siri just won't mind her own fucking business. So,
but it is a shame because it did look really cool. But obviously, if you put graffiti highway in Google Images, you would see photos of it as the graffiti highway, and then photos of it as it's been covered over. So modern day Centralia is known as much for the underground mine fire and the graffiti that once covered its abandoned highway, as for the mining that once sustained the town. People travel from far and wide to catch a sight of one of the plumes of foul smoke rising from beneath the ground in the once thriving borough. The majority of the vacant buildings and abandoned homes have long since been demolished, turning the once bustling main street into an empty section of roadway. Long, wide portions of the town have been taken over by nature, leaving lovely meadows in contrast to overgrown asphalt roads and walkways, framed occasionally by a smouldering hillside. And Centralia, obviously, is pretty much unrecognizable at this point. There is very, very few traces that would signify it was once a very bustling town. At its peak, Centralia was a prosperous, bustling small community. The town had 2,761 residents, according to data from federal census records. The town had 14 general and food stores, 7 churches, 5 hotels, 27 saloons, 2 theatres, a bank, and a post office. So it had a little bit going for it. Little old Centralia, yeah. Now, however, it is a mostly abandoned ghost town. Its soul ripped out and its main inlet in and out closed and detoured. After a time capsule, buried in 1966, was attempted to be dug up and stolen in May 2014, the town's current and former residents decided to open the time capsule a couple of years earlier than originally planned. A miner's helmet, a miner's lamp, coal, a Bible, local mementos, and a pair of bloomers signed by the men of Centralia in 1966 were among the items discovered in the footlocker size container that had been submerged in nearly 12 inches of water. I want to see a photo of those bloomers. I need to see a photo of those
bet
bloomers.
you do, you filthy bastard. That's
what a
so
random
weird.
thing, though.
Like, that's the equivalent of, my local town put in a time capsule in the ground and me going, oh, did you want my song? Just to pop in there. It's a really key historical moment, this fucking G-string. Like, what? Why? Why did I find it? It's weird.
I don't know. I just thought it's just so random, especially because obviously there's mainly mining related stuff. There's a miner's helmet, a miner's lamp, a bit of coal, local mementos, and then just randomly a pair of bloomers.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not really sure what message it sends. It's like, oh yeah, Centralia was known in the 1860s for its mining and its sluts. Just 2 really important industries. I don't get it.
Dear.
It's very confusing.
Obviously, these were relics from a time when the future of Centralia was far brighter, in contrast to the far bleaker future of the town today. And there are no further plans to try and put out the fire that still burns underground, and most maps no longer even show the dot where the town once stood. Once a vibrant community with an optimistic future, the town of Centralia, Pennsylvania, has since been relegated to the books of history and the memories of the people that once called it home, and the very, very few that still do. And that was a little story about Centralia, Pennsylvania. Thoughts, feelings, Ames? How did you find that?
I want to go. I want to live there. Actually, no,
I would love to go.
That's a bit much. I
Maybe
don't want to move in. But it sounds like a really cool place to go. It's very sad. It is very sad because it's not. I mean, yes, there was a decision to, set the landfill on fire, which obviously started this whole thing. But there was no, horrible malice behind it. Was just unfortunate that it
No.
happened. And that meant so
Yeah.
many people had to leave their home. And it could have been, like you say, a thriving town. It had a bright future until that happened. It's very sad that it's now abandoned and there's only 4 people that live there, but which arguably makes it not. But whatever. It's definitely somewhere I'd like to
Nearly
visit.
abandoned.
I think there's part of me that's like, I want to know. I want to see what's going on down. And plus, it's one of those places I feel like you get there and those 4 people are like some weird cult. And like you go in, but you never come out. And that's, that's always
It's
how I
so
pictured myself going, just being used in a human
as a cult.
sacrifice for a cult. I feel like that's an appropriate end for me. So, yeah, I kind of want to visit. Maybe not soon, but yeah, eventually.
It's a proper Hills Have Eyes situation.
Or a Silent Hill situation, as the case may be. Yeah, no, that was
Or
a
a
really cool
Silent Hill
case.
situation.
I've very much appreciated it. It's nice to have a bit of a change. We do talk a lot about very scummy humans and, just horrible people. So
Yeah.
it's nice to just hear the story of a
Yeah.
spooky and creepy place instead.
100%. And I am with you. I would love to visit Centralia. One thing that I didn't mention, I don't think, in the outline was essentially the remaining residents have been allowed to stay, but as soon as I think it like the sort of agreement is as soon as those people die, essentially, Pennsylvania will then knock down their houses, and then like pretty much any trace of Centralia will be gone. Like that, it'll you wouldn't
Oh,
even notice that the town once it existed at all. I think the only it is, and I think the only building that doesn't have to be torn down or hasn't been torn down is there's a church that doesn't sit above the mine fire. It's a little bit further out, so that is like that will be the only remaining building that it has anything in relation with Centralia, is just this one church, which I don't know if this is a fun fact, but it's a little tidbit. That one church still holds Sunday services for ex-residents of Centralia and the 4 residents that are still living.
that's so cool. But also, that as soon as those 4
Right?
people die and they stop holding services, that church is going to be haunted to fuck. 100%. You are getting possessed if you enter it. It's just not. I would argue
Yeah.
that it's probably worth knocking down just to prevent the amount of, I don't know, demonic shit that's going to go down there if you don't. So, I mean, basically what I think should happen is that we should visit before those 4 people die, because I don't want to go afterward, because I ain't about getting possessed.
Okay. I don't know like how old these people are, so that might be very quick. That might be very soon. That might not be
They're in
so
their
soon.
90s. We basically
I
need to
don't
go tomorrow.
know. Right. As soon as we get off this episode, I'm booking the plane
Book
tickets.
the flight.
I'll get the
It's the only way we'll
get the
get there.
Airbnb sorted.
Yeah, it might be difficult to find one in Centralia, considering the only thing that's there are these 4 people's houses and a church. But give it a go. You never know.
We'll stay in the church. It's fine.
No thanks, I'm good. I don't like churches at the best of times, but that one, Jesus Christ. Get it? Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Anyway,
No. Yeah.
I
I
assume
don't.
it's a Christian church. Maybe it's not.
But yes, that was the story of the rise and very abrupt, unfortunate fall of Centralia. Quite a fascinating story, especially sort of the little facts about it being used as inspiration for Silent Hill and, other
Yeah,
little
it's very cool.
tidbits. And like Amy said, it's nice to do something a little bit different. We love talking about true crime, but also there are things like this out there that I would say are, equally interesting. So yeah. Amy, would you like to see us out this week, my lovely?
I'd love to. Thank you, as always, so much for listening. We always appreciate the fact you take time out of your lives to listen to us chatting away about shit most of the time. So thank you. If you do wish to support us, the freest and easiest way to do it is to leave us a review, leave us a like, say hello on Instagram, Discord, however you want to reach out to us. We love hearing from you. Give us a little 5-star review if you want. I don't want to influence your stars, but if you have to pick a number, 5 is my personal favourite. That helps us out. If you want to support us financially, please don't forget to visit the merch store, and you can click on the Buy Me a Coffee link and shoot us some caffeine, because we're always in need of it. But either way, whatever you do, please join us again next week, because that's the only reason we do this, is so that you can. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your week and have a great weekend ahead. And until next time, stay spooky.
Stay bloody spooky.